Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sufi Sunday Zoom Zikr here at Namaste, Lake Chapala, and around the world. So good to see all of you. I can feel so much light, so much brightness coming from the screen from all of you. And I just feel so blessed to be able to join so deeply with all of you so often. 6 days a week we come together, and so many of you are here every day. And that just shows your commitment and passion, which are the two necessary ingredients, commitment and passion, because commitment brings consistency and the other brings passion brings I don't even know what I'm saying. You get to the point where the space between the thoughts gets so big it's hard to track. But we feel and we know and we experience that grace that binds us together. And that's the only thing that we really need. So that's why we come together in this holy joining. And I'm so grateful for all of you. And so today, being Sufi Sunday and Zoom Zikr, we're going to be experiencing a very powerful chant toward the end of our time here. But first, I wanted to talk about the rocket ship that catapults us free from the gravitational pull of this world, or you could say of the ego. And I was thinking about this just yesterday, how a rocket ship, in order to break free from the gravitational pull of the earth, it needs tremendous energy, tremendous fire in order to break free. Otherwise, it doesn't go anywhere. And it's the same for us in this spiritual journey. We need supreme passion and supreme energy and desire if we are to break free from the gravitational pull of the ego. And this is why we stress this so often, passion and devotion and love, because this is the fire of the engine that helps us to break free and to ascend into the higher realms. Without that, all we're really trying to do is we're trying to find a balance between the untrue and the true, or reality and illusions. Do you see that? Trying to find a balance between what is true or untrue, or what is real and not real, is impossible. It can't be done. But this is what we try to do in perception. We want both. We want, on one hand, to be set free from the bonds of the ego. At the same time, I still want this and I still want that, and I still want to be able to, whatever it is I think I need to do here. And so it's threatening to us when we hear that we have to let everything go. We have to be willing to realize that this world I see holds nothing that I want. To get to that point. And as I said, that's a very challenging place to be, because there's still so many parts of us that cling to aspects of the illusion. Imagine that rocket ship analogy. Imagine a rocket that is getting ready to blast off, and yet tied to that rocket are hundreds of chains very tightly secured to the earth. The rocket ship begins to fire its engines, and it begins to want to build momentum so that it can break free from the gravitational pull of the earth, but it can't because it's being held back. And it's the same with us. When we try to mix illusions and reality, or what is true and what is not true, it's like on one hand, we're trying to use that passion to catapult ourselves away from all of those separate self-desires, the split mind, the ego self. On one hand, we're trying to ascend through all that, but we're also tied to it. This is what happens when we try to balance one over the other. But the truth is, we have to have a passionate longing for what is true, a passionate longing. So we're going to be talking about passion a lot today. But the other thing that we need to have, not only is that passion for what is true and what is real, but a dismissal, a willingness to dismiss that which is untrue, that which is unreal. This is how we cut those lines that are holding us back. All of those egoic desires, all of those things that we think we need, or we think we want, or we're not going to be complete if we don't have. So, I was reading in Journey Beyond Words this morning. It's sort of like any other book of truth. You just open it up and you find the exact perfect passage. And so this morning I opened up and there were just a few sentences that I came on that speak to this perfectly. So I want to share these. It says, I've spoken to you these many weeks of love and the love of God. Love which is your reality, love which is of God, love which is the glue of the universe, and here's the key, is not possible so long as you value anything of this world. That is a really revolutionary statement. Let me read it one more time. I've spoken to you these many weeks of love and the love of God. Love which is your reality, love which is of God, love which is the glue of the universe is not possible as long as you value anything of this world. And love and gratitude, real gratitude, go hand in hand. Likewise, so long as you would value this world or the world of separation, you cannot know the blessings of your own gratitude. You cannot feel the radiation of your own gratitude or the seeming gratitude of others. You've blocked it. Once again, as I said before, there's no way to find a balance between what is real and unreal, what is true or not true, or illusions. But this is what we always try to do, because the ego, or that split mind that we have claimed, thinking that there's some value, will give us so much slack to think that we're going somewhere before it pulls us back. I've used this analogy before, but I think it's a good one. Imagine a dog that's tied. There's a post that's secured into the ground, and this dog is tied to this rope. And it's a pretty long rope. And it's just enough length for the dog to run around in a circle around this center point and to run at full speed. And because it's running at full speed, it thinks it's going somewhere. It must be. It's running very fast. It must be going somewhere. What it doesn't realize is that it's running in a circle and going nowhere. And it's the same for us when we try to balance these two, truth and untruth, the reality and unreality. But what must the dog do in order to finally be set free? The first thing it has to do is hold still. Stop running. The dog's friend, the dog's master, the dog's owner is standing right there, but the dog's master can't do anything to help that dog be free until it stops running. And only then can it be untied, because it can't untie itself. And in the same way, we can't untie ourselves, but there is one there waiting for us to stop running, to hold still, so that we can be untied. So this is the key, to hold still, to stop running, to stop thinking that we need to balance these two. So let me read one more tiny bit here from Journey Beyond Words. He says, remember, this is the Christ speaking to you, and the Christ is just another word for everything, as Richard Rohr says. The Christ says, hear me well once again. You are everything. Try to feel within the depths of your being, beyond your thinking, the fullness, the richness, the peace, the aliveness, and the certainty that must be yours when once you realize that there is nothing in the world of spirit, nothing in the world of illusion, which is not already yours. But the key is to realize that. You have to first realize that there's nothing in the world of form that you really want. None of those ropes or chains that are tied to you to stop you from flying, from soaring. So it's the desire, just like a rocket ship needs the propulsion, the fire, and the passion of those engines, so do we need the fire of our desire and our longing, coupled with the realization that there's nothing in this world that I really want. So in just a few minutes, we're going to be doing a chant that's going to bring that to life within us. But before we do that, I want to first turn to Vicky. At the very end, we'll turn to everyone else, but I want to turn to Vicky right now before we do the chant, just to have her radiate and add whatever she sees fit. Good morning, Vicky.
Good morning, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you. Well, the word that comes to my mind around passion is just simple wholeheartedness in one direction. It's that simple. The ego doesn't like us to go extreme. It likes us to stay mediocre, miserable. And if we wholeheartedly only go for one thing, the love of God, whatever opens our heart wholeheartedly, then that's the fire that lifts that ship and breaks that gravitational pull. Because what tethers us is our mediocre willingness to put up with things, our mediocre willingness to live, but not fully. And if we want to live wholeheartedly and fully, there's nothing here. There's nothing in form that calls that. It's always spirit that calls wholeheartedness. So that's my word for the day.
That is such a good word.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And the thing is, if you break it up, it even goes even deeper. Whole-hearted. It has to be whole. But like you said, we're so accustomed to partiality, to mediocrity, to giving most maybe. Maybe I feel comfortable giving 90%, but I have to hold back just that 10%. Why? Just in case. That's not wholehearted. It's like, I use this quote so many times recently, like Jesus saying, the greatest commandment is to give one's whole heart, one's whole soul, one's whole mind to God, to love itself. So you're so right, Vicky. To be wholehearted is the key, to give everything. And we talk about the Sufis. This is what Sufism is all about. Sufism is really just that whole single desire for love itself, that passionate desire for the divine, for all that is. And we can't do that by trying to find a balance between the two. Trying to find the balance between the two is not being wholehearted, saying that there's only one thing that I want. There's only one thing that's ever going to satisfy my soul, this longing that I feel, and that is the love of, I could say God, or I could say everything, I could say Allah, it doesn't matter what word, but love itself, because that is everything. So once again, it's a passionate longing for what is true and a complete dismissal, swish, of what is not. So, that being said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to enjoy a chant, and this is a very powerful one. We did this a number of weeks ago, and so many people came to me and said, who needs drugs when you have this? It's called the Hands of Light meditation, or Adonul in Arabic. And what this is intended to do is to bring us into a wholehearted relationship between giving and receiving. Because giving and receiving are the same, because I'm only really giving to myself, right? And so that desire, first of all, if we imagine that we're reaching up to heaven and we're reaching through that cloud of unknowing, and we're touching the beloved. And as we touch the beloved, we draw in heaven or love We draw that into our heart. But it's not just about drawing it in and just keeping it here. Now I have to become the source or the instrument of that. So I'm reaching up into heaven and I'm drawing that in. And then I'm extending it out. What I do is I put my hand down when I'm extending it as if I'm between those two clouds, and I'm now extending that down as a blessing to all beings. So I'm reaching up, I'm drawing in, and I'm extending out. That's the movement. It's just back and forth, like this. And if you're doing it like this and your arm starts to get tired, that's okay. Just bring it in like this and bring your elbows in. But the key to this chant is to really give yourself to it. Once again, if you want to be like that rocket ship that breaks free from the gravitational pull of the earth, you need to really give yourself to this so you can break free from the gravitational force of the ego, of the separate self-identity. And so the way that we do that is we're going to be chanting the name Allah, okay, God. And when we reach up, we say, ah. Now, actually, we breathe in, La. Do that with me. Hold on. This other James Twyman here, I'm going to have to mute you. So, La. La. Keep doing that. Deep breaths. La. So you draw in and then extend out. La. La. And if you take very deep breaths, what's going to happen is after a very short period, you're going to feel these radiating balls of light in your hands. This is why this is called hands of light meditation, or Adinul. And you're going to go into a state of ecstasy. That's the beautiful thing about this chant, is it brings about this heightened state of ecstasy because you are bringing in more oxygen, which helps, but the focus is the key. When you're reaching up, you're imagining that you're literally touching the hem of the garment of the beloved, and you're drawing in that light, and then just as quickly you're extending it out to all beings everywhere. And you take deep breaths and you keep the focus. You're going to be hearing me chanting La. It's a little bit faster than that, but you'll hear me chanting, so you'll be able to follow it pretty easily. But once again, the key is to give everything to this, to not hold back, wholehearted, as Vicky said. Okay? So, you'll be able to see me up in the corner, so just go ahead and watch. I'm going to share my screen now. Oops, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so everybody take a nice deep breath. And let's begin. Continue to breathe very deeply. And with your hands extended, with every breath, feel that light that's in your hands now, extending out as a blessing to all beings everywhere. Wholehearted, 100%, with every breath. Extend that light now. Continue for another minute. Wholehearted extension of light. Words disappear in this light. All concepts dissolve. All ideas fade. And we are left only with love, with light, with Allah, God, God, God. And so, as we slowly, slowly, slowly come back, bring this light with you. This is all we need, is to continue to reach into the heavens and draw in that eternal light, and then to extend it just as quickly as a gift to all beings everywhere. The animal kingdom, the human kingdom, the plant kingdom, the rock kingdom, the lizard kingdom, every kingdom, radiation of this divine light.